Welcome to the start of a brand new year. I love beginnings. I love making some changes, and I love when there's the opportunity to make some changes at a new beginning. Welcome to the start of a brand new year. I love beginnings. I also love making some positive changes. And when those two collide right here today and the beginning of this year, we have the opportunity to make some really great changes at the beginning of something new. And it just feels really good. And so today we're going to talk a bit about housework. And I know that you recognize the need and the desire that you have for a clean home. Your brain probably, like most people, works better and easier and can function really well, and you can be more relaxed. You can reduce anxiety when you are in a clean space. When you look over the living room that you just have cleaned up, maybe it's just straightening up the toys, or maybe it is going a bit deeper and you did some dusting and some vacuuming and you wiped down some surfaces and you're like, wow, that just feels really good. And it feels like you can relax and rest a little bit in that space. Whether you have never really honed in on having a good handle on your housework, or maybe you know what to do, but you've just kind of got lost in the weeds. Today's episode is going to be an answer for you no matter where you fall or somewhere on that spectrum. And when you are ready to go a bit deeper than just this episode, I'm going to share with you today the new resource that has the answer for you that I have been talking about. But today, right now, let's get out of that feeling of frustration that the housework will never end, and let's talk about how you can get all of your chores done in the homeschool day.
Welcome to the Little by Little Homeschool podcast, where you can get out of survival mode, feel confident in your homeschool decisions, and gain peace in your heart and home. I know that when we plant our feet firmly in this season of life and embrace our homeschooling, motherhood, and homemaking, we will thrive. I truly believe that we can do this from a place of peace and joy, all while growing a ton of contentment. And while we're at it, Mama, let's deepen those relationships with our children and love these years we get to pour into them. If you're ready to create beauty, seek simplicity, and live intentionally, homeschool mama, then close out that lesson book, let the kids go play, and let's have an authentic conversation.
Spoiler alert, nobody who actually lives in their home has a spotless home. That is a myth, and it is not real life. Unfortunately, on the other end of it, there are a lot of people living in homes that could really use a lot more attention. And over the years, when I have watched, we'll say extreme shows, I know that this isn't you, but extreme shows like Hoarders, I'm like, I just want to get in there. Or even if it's not that extreme, it's just has kind of gotten beyond. I actually really enjoy decluttering and cleaning and straightening up and organizing. But just to remember that when we are looking at our home, when you are looking at your home, that there is no one else that you need to compare to. There is not this woman who is amazing and perfect and her home is spotless and there's no smudges and there's no dust. Because if there is, I can guarantee that she is not living in that home. And if she is living alone and there's nobody else in the home. She is not like you. She is not homeschooling her children. But our aim should be, though, for a tidy and clean home instead. It doesn't need to be spotless, and it really shouldn't look like a hoarder's home. Everything should have a place, and areas should be properly cleaned regularly. And I know that you know this, and I'm going to share with you in just a minute 4 steps that I have for you in order to get out of that feeling of frustration and getting it all done every day. To be honest, I've always been a pretty organized person when it comes to housework. Let's say once I moved out of my parents' house, I was a mess. I really only had the responsibility of my bedroom and then whatever was assigned to me to do. But my room, always an absolute wreck. It was when I moved out and went to college and beyond that, I was pretty organized with housework, but I always just have a problem with never feeling like it's done. And I tend to put too much of a priority on it when I don't have a system. And the system that I'm going to introduce to you today, the Tidy Home System, is one that I created because I know myself and I know that I can continue to keep myself busy until all hours of the night, working on different maybe projects or just cleaning or tidying, just whatever it is in the house, because I do enjoy creating a home. But I wanted to be able to say at the end of the day, you know what? I accomplished what I needed to this day. And that is good enough. And good enough is good enough. And then I'm able to relax and rest in the evening and get a good night's sleep and get up the next day feeling accomplished, that I did enough, but I didn't go over and I didn't waste my time and I didn't squander the time with my family. And so that's why I've come up with this system that I'm going to share a bit about with you today. And then for those of you who are like, I need to dive in deeper, we're going to talk a bit about that here in just a minute. So please stay with me here because I want to just throw this all out to you and give you a great way to start. And then hopefully I will see you over in the tidy home. So step number 1 here is for you as the homeschool mom to be realistic of your expectations and your current season in life. I know that that sounds so cliche, but guess what? It is true. If you have little ones, stop beating yourself up over the fact that your house is not in perfect order and every single room isn't in perfect order every single day. It's not going to happen. And that's okay. I can tell you it's not going to happen. Please trust me that it's not going to happen and it's okay. It is completely okay. I look back to myself and I'm like, why did I beat myself up over that? Now, when my kids were really little and I had just one, so maybe a toddler, a girl, and my son was maybe a baby, I was able to keep the house in order because she didn't really make much of a mess. But let's say you can probably guess what happened as he got older. And then we added another child and then we ended up homeschooling and they're home all day with all the stuff. And the house was a lot more difficult to be able to keep up with. So those were just different seasons in life. Whereas I could, in the beginning, keep up with it a bit more. It got to be a bit crazy. And to be honest, I'm at that other end now where it is a lot easier to keep up with. However, a lot more falls on me right now in this season of life, and that's okay. But the pro to that, to the con of it falling on me, is that things are not as messy as they were. I look back at pictures and videos from even just a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, just all the toys and everything everywhere. So the first step I have for you is for you to stop and just sit and recognize that you and your expectations need to be realistic. Look at those that are living in your home right now and say, you know what? My expectations are beyond what is possible right now. That is going to actually help to relieve some of your anxiety, relieve some of the stress, take some of that off of your shoulders. I had a saying for many, many years, and that was, if you were to just show up at my house unannounced, you get what you get, and you don't get upset. Now, if I knew that you were going to be coming over and life was just kind of normal at that point, sometimes I'd have people come over because maybe I was unwell and they were stopping by to drop some things off, or we were just going through a move, or just something was going on in our life. And I was like, well, you still get what you get. However, I did really make an effort if we were having friends over for dinner or we were having a play date, that I was like, okay, we'll kind of make the things tidy and make sure the bathroom is clean and things are sanitary. But beyond that, that's kind of what you get. However, if you just pop in unannounced, you get what you get and you don't get upset. You get us looking like hot messes, and you get the house possibly looking like a hot mess as well. And I kind of had to say, that's kind of the same saying right now, too. I'm like, well, if you would like me to make you something, food or something before you come, let me know. Otherwise, you're going to get some leftovers from our refrigerator. So the first step is to be realistic of your expectations and just let some of that go. Please let it go. Number 2 is to be very intentional about what comes into your home. Guess what? More stuff equals more to manage and clean. I know with kids, a lot of stuff comes in. Sometimes it's just nature that comes inside. Maybe it's on their shoes, or maybe it's rocks and acorns and who knows whatever else that's in their pockets. But what I'm talking about is all the extra stuff, all of the toys. How many toys do your kids really need? Now, we just celebrated Christmas. Your kids probably got quite a bit more stuff now. What are you going to do with that? Now's a really good time to go through and decide, what do they really play with? and what do they not play with. I know I talked about this a couple episodes back before Christmas about what to do and how to work through all this stuff. But remember, more stuff equals more stuff to manage and clean. I can tell you right now, this is throwing no shade at any church children's program directors or birthday parties. But when my kids would go to programs and stuff at church or just like the weekly thing or Sunday school and birthday parties, they would come home with a lot of what I said just was junk. It's just super cheap junk, and they just insisted upon keeping it. And that was the stuff that probably drove me more crazy than the huge collection of Matchbox cars that they played with daily and that they really loved. And some of these toys that they really enjoyed playing with, I didn't mind those as much. It was just all of the little junk. It was also in their craft corner. I set up an entire craft corner art center for them. And it was just all the stuff, all the papers and everything on the floor. And I wish I had a better system. I look back now because I would, to be honest, I would get to the point where I would just kind of blow up about it and just do it all myself. And if I had a system, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, I would have been able to pull back from that anger and have more patience, and we could all work together on it, which is a hint for a step coming up here. But just remember that more stuff equals more to manage and more to clean, more stuff to clean around. If there's more stuff on the floor, and whether it's toys or it's furniture, there's more stuff to vacuum around. If there's less stuff, then there's less stuff to actually clean and to work around. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a minimalist home, but I'm just saying to be intentional about what comes into the house, and maybe some of those things need to go out, or maybe it's just replacing something as opposed to adding to the house. The third step that I want to talk about here, as I mentioned already, a little bit give you a hint, is that your family has got to be involved. It's mandatory. Absolutely mandatory. They are there making a mess too. Like I said earlier, if a house is spotless and clean, it might just be you living alone, cleaning up after yourself. But you have beautiful children in your home, you have your husband, and there's just going to be stuff, and they have to be involved, all of them, no matter their age. Well, okay, if they're a baby, they're off the hook there a little bit, okay? But everybody can get involved. Toddlers can get involved in just at least putting away toys, or maybe you let them help dust a little bit. Just give them an old rag and let them reach up to whatever surfaces that they can get to and just wipe off the dust. Kids really do want to be involved. And when you create an atmosphere where you're working together and work is not a bad word, then kids don't mind helping out. And because you do homeschool and you are home and the homeschool lifestyle is us working together, that also includes housework and chores. Now, some of these chores and these tasks might fall upon certain people's shoulders. Maybe you're like, well, I'm not quite ready for my kids to do whatever this task is. Or maybe you're using some type of cleaning supplies and you don't want them quite to use it. Hint, hint, maybe change the cleaning supplies so that they can help, because if it's not safe for the kids, it's probably not safe for you as well. But family involvement in housework and chores is absolutely necessary. Don't let anybody off the hook. They all can help, no matter their age. Step 4 here is to have a plan on how to tackle and to get the chores done every single day. Now, this is not saying that every single chore has to be done every single day. Do you need to change the sheets or wipe down the refrigerator or mop the floor or do all of the laundry or wash all of the windows every single day? Absolutely not. That's why you need to have a plan. What does need to happen every single day? What would be great to happen every single week? And what would be great to happen every single month? And then let's build upon that and think, what do I want to get done maybe seasonally every single quarter? Or what is something yearly that we would like to accomplish? And this is what I am going to teach you in the Tidy Home system. You can get all of the information about this at littlebylittlehomeschool.com/tidyhome, spelled TIDYHOME. And today this launches. It is a mini course that is going to get you from feeling frustrated, from feeling anxious about all that needs to be done, feeling like your home is neglected and your family is neglected because you're trying to work on the home, and get you to the point where you can, at the end of the day, say every single day, I've accomplished what I needed to in my housework, and to feel good about it. And that doesn't mean that every single day has to have housework. Now, there are some things that probably every single day, like clean the dishes. That should be done every single day. But like that list of items that I just mentioned before, those don't need to happen every single day. And most of them probably aren't even going to happen every single week. And what I do with you in the Tidy Home system is that you are going to create a plan that is very specific to you right now in this season of life. First, you're going to decide which chores are the ones that you need to actually get done, which are doable. And then we're going to break those down into daily chores, into weekly chores, into monthly chores, into quarterly chores. And sometimes we even have those yearly chores that we want to get done. There is a way of having this all written down, have it out for you to see so that you do not forget. It makes it easy in order to delegate to your family. I also talk to you about how to set up a chore system for your children, one that is going to be effective and one that they are going to do well with, and one that they are eventually going to outgrow. That is the goal. When I say outgrow, it doesn't mean they stop doing chores. It means that they don't need to be told or asked to do specific chores every single day or every single week, because they've taken it on as a responsibility. If you are interested in more information, like I said, about the Tidy Home system, you're going to go to littlebylittlehomeschool.com/tidy home. And for this week only, you can get $30 off using the promo code Clean Home. And I promise that this is not a system that is just going to say, this is what you have to do on this day and this day and this day. Sometimes that's what we think we need. But how many times have you either found a free download on Pinterest or purchased a quick little ebook and it doesn't do the job? It's telling you what you need to do instead of you telling it what you're going to do. Let's help our house to work for us instead of us working for it. And that's what we're going to do in the Tidy Home. And I am really excited for you to be able to start off this year with a resource in hand that you can then, really my goal is that 6 months from now, you look back and you say to yourself, I'm so glad that I took that little bit of a step. I took that chance on myself and I actually went and carried through with it and did it. And you're going to see such a huge difference. And that's what I want you to say about yourself. I want you to give yourself a pat on the back here. Come, we'll say like July, 6 months from now, and you're saying, my house is under control. I don't feel frustrated. I'm accomplishing what I need to every single day, and I'm not feeling overwhelmed. I'm not feeling anxious. My kids know how they can help out. My husband knows how they can help out. And so therefore, the fact that my house is clean, it's tidy, it's picked up, and we have routines and we know what chores to do, you are then able to move on with life. You're able to thrive. Your homeschool can be taken to new levels because you don't have to worry about when is the floor going to be vacuumed? When is it going to be mopped? When are the bedrooms going to be cleaned up? When are the sheets going to be changed? When is the refrigerator going to be cleaned out? You won't have to worry about that stuff because you have an entire system all figured out as to when it's going to be done. And all you have to do is just do it. And the rest of your time is free for you to live life. And that's what I want for you. And like I mentioned, you can join me in the Tidy Home at littlebylittlehomeschool.com/tidy home. And between now, today, January 1st, and January 5th of 2024 at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time, 11:59 p.m., I should say, Eastern Standard Time on Friday, July 5th, you can save $30 by using the coupon code Clean Home. Friend, I am excited for you to just jumpstart this year right now and having a plan, because we all know that everybody wants to talk about New Year's resolutions and things you're going to do, and how many of those fall apart because you don't have a plan. The Tidy Home is going to give you a plan and it's not going to fall apart, and I'm here to support you through it. That's a big thing. How many of us go ahead and join a gym and say we're going to do this, and you come up with this whole list of things that you are going to do, or maybe you just go with one thing and you know that it's unrealistic because you don't have a plan. This is realistic. It is realistic to end the frustration. It is realistic to bring down the anxiety level and to have an answer and resource for you. And that's what the Tidy Home is going to do. I'm excited to see you over there, friend, as well as back here on the podcast in just a couple days. But don't forget that sale ends on Friday.
If this podcast has encouraged you, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. I love to hear how this show has impacted you, so if you could hop over and do that, I'd be so grateful. While you're at it, take a screenshot of this episode and share it with your friends to encourage them. You can also find me over on Instagram at Little by Little Homeschool. Until next time, have a beautiful day, Mama.